Hi, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to do one of those videos where I look for fruit that's ripe that we can sell. I've been getting a lot of people texting and emailing me for what do we have for sale today. I'm just really bad at fruit sales. I'm just not into it. I attempt to do it, but ideally we would have a open sign here and have a website, but I discovered when we first started getting fruit that I'm just not ever going to get there. My partner said that they would do it when they retired, but they never did. And I asked him, I said, do you like selling fruit now? So that's probably the main driver, other than our miniature zebus, that is leading us to sell this farm. So because it's getting to the point where it's just, there's so much untapped potential here that goes to waste, that it's a shame that somebody isn't here to capitalize on all the different plants and trees that you could sell and all the fruit. And you could supplement the fruit with purchased fruit from wholesale distributors and make a good amount of money. You probably have to put parking in. Probably you could do that in the area that we are currently letting our zebus graze, but there's places that you could have parking here and just open up the gates. We're not open to the public, but I do have people come by here. They make appointments to come by here. This is a quaimuc tree. It's not quite ready. It does look like it's getting ready. Good looking fruit. I saw that this tree had some new fruit forming on it, which it's the first time it's done that. So this one in the camera looks like it might drop off, but visually it looks like it's okay. That one will drop off, but I guess it's finally starting to get mature enough where it's going to start producing large crops, and I do see that it's starting to bloom all over. Little tiny flower buds starting. It's in the Artocarpus family, so maybe we're going to have a second crop of this in late winter, early spring, if all goes well. We'll see. I don't know. But they're known to produce a lot of fruit. But this has been very slow to get up to production. This is a grafted tree. We have a tree that's a seed-grown tree that has produced a crop, one time, 2 years ago. It's going to be 3 seasons ago soon. But the tree is bigger than this. And I imagine it's going to start producing well soon. I've had that tree for almost 10 years, so it's the longest tree that I've had besides my producing achachiro tree. So quaimuc, you have to come by here to see if we have fruit. Somebody wanted to know if we have silas wood sapodillas. We have quite a few sapodilla trees. Silas wood is one of those trees, and unfortunately the possums have been getting all of our good-sized fruits. In fact, you can see a bite mark in this one here. They've just wreaked havoc on our sapodillas. They produce year-round. I think we have 5 silas wood trees. Some of them are getting bigger. So I imagine once they get bigger, there's just going to be so much fruit. We grow, I don't know, 4 or 5 different types: Tikal, Hazia, and one unknown variety that's super good, and silas wood. Plus I have another seed-grown tree that I'm not sure what it is from, but I think we have about 15 sapodilla trees. Somebody wanted to know, or really wants some ice cream bananas, and you'd think that with 450 banana trees that we would have bananas ripe all the time, but since they, you know, I had been pulling pups off so much, this particular rack got trashed by possums, and it's near our septic, so I wouldn't sell that to the public. It's just chances of it getting polluted with forever chemicals are just too great when you grow food around septics systems in Florida. Even though we try to limit our exposure to forever chemicals here through clean household ingredients that we use, they still can wind up from our excrement into the... Here's another Silas Wood Sapodilla. This tree was covered in fruit. You could see the broken branches from the possums are like still hanging on there. They broke this one. They just really can wreak damage or wreak havoc on a small tree. I'm kind of surprised this doesn't have any fruit on it, but it will. They usually always have fruit on them. It's kind of good when they're small like this to pluck the fruit off anyway. Because then the trees will grow. But the grafted Sapodilla trees, they just never stop producing fruit. And that's been a problem, getting them to speed up their growth. We have raw sapote fruit on this little shade-grown tree for the first time. It's a really good canistel variety. It's not any better than a canistel fruit that we have called Delightful. Delightful gets, the fruit is bigger, which we should have fruit in the near future, but those aren't ready and there really isn't enough to sell. But surely you could purchase, if you bought this property, because we are selling, we're going to sell this property. Hopefully I sell it before next season's mango season, because I have a feeling it's just going to be fruit overload here next year. I just have that feeling. And here's a wax bamboo trees. They produce a lot of fruit. I just don't, if I don't really like a fruit, I don't even push it. I don't even show it. I don't even sell it. So that's the problem with me, is I'm too picky, and what I like is not generally what everyone likes. So I should be more open and just make the fruit available when it's available, but I don't. And this is the hog plum, but you could, the red one, you could definitely do lots of cuttings of this and sell them. You could sell all the seeds from all these fruit trees. You can start the plants, the seeds in pots, and sell the pots. You could buy wholesale plants from Zills and Pine Island Nursery and basically double the price or triple the price like most nurseries do, and sell other people's plants in combination with your plants. But I'm just not into it. I'm just not ever going to do it, and that's why we're willing to sell this. I guess I was more interested in tasting the fruit and learning how to grow than I was about ever becoming a nursery or a tropical fruit producing farm, even though I will do it because we do have the fruit. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking for fruit. This is a fruit tree called African mangosteen. I thought I would have fruit available for this in October, but this tree hasn't given me a bloom again. This tree gave me 2 large crops last year. I didn't even know that was possible. Was it a fluke? I don't know. I'd never seen that. I never saw it written. Everywhere I've read, it says 1 crop a year, 1 large crop a year. But this one produced 2, and it does appear like it's trying to give me a big bloom again. So I'm holding out hopes that this tree is not done for the year until spring, because it always gives me a big crop in the spring. But it's starting to swell. I'm thinking that it is going to bloom. I'm positive. In fact, I can see it right here, little flowers forming. So I would guess in early November we will have a second big crop of this to sell, and I'm gonna sell those, I think, for $4 or $5 each this year. I think I lowered the price this spring because we had 3 producing trees, and I didn't really get a lot of interest in it, and that was kind of strange. So here's some of my cuttings of the hog plum that I did. They look good. This is a little cashew tree, mango, this is a citrus, of course pigeon peas. Here's where that big oak tree was. I cut down, or I didn't cut it down, but it broke and collapsed, and I cleared the path. I have some fruit trees in here. Hopefully they're not damaged, my little jackfruits and stuff, but I had to be able to get through here, and so it was like a major, huge tree to clear. So here's our Bruni jackfruit. I see that this one is totally ripe and ready. It turned yellow. They usually don't change color. I didn't realize that they will change color like that to yellow. I bet that's super sweet. This was a new fruit. Somebody asked what, because I said they climb up the tree, and they go, what is the name of the crawl up tree for the crawl up tree? And I'm like, what is he talking about? A tree that I say the plant crawls up is any tree they can use as a trellis. We use palm trees. They want to know the Latin name of the palm tree that they crawl up. Well, guaranteed you're never going to find a 200-year-old sable palm in England or wherever you live. So chances of even mimicking this exact scenario are probably impossible for you. So it's just a tree, any palm tree will do, any mature palm tree, the bigger the better. You can't plant a little tiny palm tree and expect a big giant dragon fruit vine to crawl 30 feet up it when the tree is only 5 feet tall. So this palm tree is very old, but you could use any tree as a trellis for your dragon fruit. And I like this because it protects the flowers from rain. There's some big dragon fruit up there, Bruni, so the flowers get pollinated and don't get washed out, and it produces a lot of fruit. So it's a nice looking tree. This is a giant yellow dragon fruit I put here, seed grown, and it's trying to grow up the tree finally. Took a while to get going. I think we have some star fruit. I'm gonna go look at that because people do buy star fruit. I try to send star fruit as ripe as possible. I don't like foing tongue. I don't like the flavor of it. It's okay, but I used to grow foing tongue. Somebody wanted to know if I had that type of star fruit. No, we only grow carrions free, and really they look too ripe to even send. But if you're near here, you can get some star fruit that are they're good. I'm not a big fan of star fruit, so I never push it. So but I mean, I'm jaded because I have this farm, so I just take everything for granted. I will regret it once I'm gone from here, and probably wish that I still had the farm, but hopefully I'll sell it to somebody that there's that big oak tree over there. Sell it to somebody that I know that will get me some fruit still off these rare fruit trees that I've planted. There's a big achachiro tree. We did start this place to be an achachiro farm. We still have achachiro fruit on our tree. There's another achachiro. There's a Miko lemon. There's a bananas and cassava I put in there. I need to do some more bananas. I never feel like I have enough. We also could have tons of cassava because we have so much cassava planted, and we have sugarcane everywhere, and katuk. So there's so much money-making streams of revenue that could happen here. There's a cashew seedling that's getting quite large. Here's another star fruit. Big difference. I like star apples a lot more. Star fruit, but they're just too ripe to ship. They just don't ship well. They're very delicate. So we do have them, but you have to come by and get them. And then we have another star fruit tree that's got a lot of fruit on it over there. I did sell a lot of star fruit this year, and some of them I sent probably more ripe, and probably they got discolored. That's the problem with starfruit. They pick them green and sell them in the stores. Here's a pomelo. I expect to get pomelo fruit off this seed-grown tree. I watched this interesting video today on glyphosate and holistic farming and something, I forget who it was by, but it was good. It had Stephanie, I forget her last name, the big glyphosate woman, but she was saying that Florida citrus greening is basically caused by systemic greening is caused by people's use of herbicide, glyphosate in particular. But I've noticed on the canal here going to the Indian River Lagoon, somebody off 66th Avenue, somebody sprayed the entire length of the canal on one side with some sort of herbicide, and it wasn't a harmless one, guaranteed. Everything was dead, and that's directly on the water that goes directly into the Indian River Lagoon. And supposedly the county has laws against that, but they don't follow these things, just like they don't follow anybody's laws in the county that you can't cut down mature trees. People still do it. They just don't enforce any of these things. But to see that we have all these issues with our Indian River Lagoon and manatee die-off, and they figure it's caused from glyphosate rather, is very disheartening to see that in Indian River County they still are spraying that on waterways that go directly into the Indian River Lagoon. It's amazing that this is a canistel tree, delightful. It's got flowers all over it, good, because this is a really good producing tree, so we'll probably have some canistel fruit to sell this year off this tree. I have lots of seedlings started from this tree that do quite well dry farmed. We dry farm everything here. We grow as close to nature as possible. We've been doing this way here for 9 years. This used to be a lawn. People always want to know about Garcinias for sale. And, you know, I said we started this farm as a Garcinia farm. I've given this achachiro tree quite a few loads of our daily compost. It still has some fruit on it, but we cannot sell this fruit to the public. I really can't even let people taste it because of the fresh manure we use. You have to wait 120 days after application. I just applied one yesterday, so I can't even begin to sell that. And I've been trying to sell the seeds because I gave so many of the seeds away. This is another Sapodilla that has some little fruit on it, and it had a bunch of fruit on it, but the creatures got it and they busted some branches, get the last of it, but it's finally getting big, so hopefully it will start producing well. Soon to have black sapotes, or not soon, but eventually in the winter we will have black sapotes. I like black sapotes, but you do have to let them ripen on the tree. I've said this multiple times. This is one of those little cuties. It looks really good. I've given this tree lots of compost, so it doesn't have hardly any leaf miner issues. Compost. But I need to look at the Garcinias because I know that people are interested in, probably what I think we have right now are sugar apples for sure. But the sugar apples are a hit and miss. And if I have to ship sugar apples long distance, you have to pick them so green that they just end up being seedy, worthless, in my opinion, not very good fruit. But if you wait till they ripen on the tree, they can be meaty and delicious and totally different than a prematurely picked sugar apple. But I think I sell them cheap enough that people don't get too discouraged with the seedy sugar apples if they get a couple or a few in their shipment. But I said I was going to pick the sugar apples the other day. That's my problem. I just don't do it. If I decide I don't really care for a fruit that much, I just won't even pick it, and I won't even sell it. I know that's wasteful, but that's why we're trying to sell this property, so that people don't get so irritated that I'm not like utilizing the full potential of this farm and offering fruit to people, and I'm wasting the food, because we're just not into being a fruit selling operation, and it's a very productive farm. I mean, all these heliconias, you could sell very easy rhizomes. All this ginger that is produced here, tons and tons and tons of rhizomes. All the cassava, all the citrus that's going to be coming in, you can't ever sell because of greening. But we don't have citrus greening. Our citrus are very healthy. Very healthy. It's funny how they just can never figure out that their management is the root cause of their problems. And if these places of higher learning would tell people that the information that the advice that they've been giving to grow and manage their food crops is incorrect, and they now recommend this, people would trust them better. But they don't do that, and they just stay the course and continuously destroy any chance of producing healthy food for our people. And that's why our food system has devolved into a state of toxicity and nutrient-less food. Stuff's looking good in here. There's a little coffee tree, and there's a little cacao tree. Yeah, it's kind of like not the best time for fruit unless you're into sugar apples or star fruit. And we do have some random intermediates, but they're kind of in between crops. They had a huge crop. This had a huge crop of fruit on it, but it still has some random fruits, probably a little overripe, but I've been eating them. They're good, but I don't think I have enough to sell off this. Here's one of those Garcinias that were like $60 a seed from Bellamy. Was it Bellamy that sold those? Yeah, I think it was Bellamy. Bellamy or Anderson. I like both those seed sellers. I really like Bellamy trees. Those little tiny trees they sell. They're inexpensive and they have a good variety, and they seem to all respond well to natural growing systems like this. So all these rare aroids, this is what I would like to landscape the property with. And those are in their own right money, revenue stream potential. Just because they're so easy to divide, and people are into them, and once they get big and people could come through here and see how everything grows naturally in Florida, they could get inspiration for their own gardens, and then go to the nursery sales area here and purchase the gloriosum, philodendron gloriosum, or philodendron Columbia, SP Columbia, like this one. They're beautiful. Or Monstera esqueleto. There's those big Garcinia latissimas. They're just huge, considering they're only a few months old from seed. There's a fruiting cacao. I saw it was flowering, and it looks like it wants to flower again, but it flowers in winter, and then or fall and winter, and we get fruit in winter or very early spring here on the cacao, the dry farm cacao. It's another citrus. I've been getting limes off this tree. It's very good. This is one of our seed-grown lime trees. All of our citrus is seed grown. It's very healthy, no greening issues. but it has like a lot of fruit for the first time it fruited, but we can't sell citrus. That's a shame. I could sell seeds, but I think I'm going to bring seeds of that up to our new spot. So we should have bananas, but I keep failing to look at the racks to see if they're ready. So all the cassavas, I mean, there's just a forest of cassava root that could be dug up and sold. This is a ackee that looks great. It's getting huge. There's a achachiro also. Lemongrass, there's lots of lemongrass here. You could always sell that. There's another achachiro. We have about 10 more achachiros that are just on the cusp of producing fruit or fruiting. They're, you know, ready to go. Just this year, this coming year, 2025 or 2026, they will probably all be producing fruit. And then of course we have probably over 500 achachiro trees and 35 different species of Garcinias. Here's a Luke's Garcinia. Just gonna go in here and look at these. There's another Luke's here. These are all Garcinias through here, different Garcinias. We fruit 8 different types of species of Garcinias. One's a hybrid lemon drop mangosteen that's sweet, Eric's sweet lemon drop. And a lot of them just continuously produce fruit, like this Braziliensis, but it did such a huge crop all summer long. I mean, huge crop. Now it just has little random fruits. It's really not anything to get excited about. I was selling these for $4 each. I was selling the intermediate for $4 each. They're okay. Personally, I would never pay $4 for this, but people do. What they wouldn't do is pay 50 cents for these. So that's why I raised the price. Here's Gardneriana. It's loaded with fruit. This kind of gave me a small summer crop, but it's had fruit on it continuously. I mean, you can still see fruit ripening. It's the one with the nipple on it. But these are a couple weeks off before we have a big crop of these to sell. But Gardneriana is definitely within, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks. We could sell quantities of those again, $4 each. Here's that producing female Garcinia mangostana tree. It produced fruit for the first time this year to ripeness. And it's got new growth on it right now, which usually when Garcinias do that, they flower, but I don't have not seen this flower this late in the year. If that's possible, I don't know. Got lots of little frogs on everything. I love it. That's why I used to get so mad at people spraying copper, especially since copper can really disrupt the microbiome in the soil and put a unnaturally high amount of copper into the fruit that you're using the spray on. And copper has been shown to be a known neurological disruptor, because if it disrupts the microbiome of the soil, it will disrupt your microbiome. And the brain-gut connection is well studied and documented now, so it makes total sense that it could affect neurological abilities. I'm not sure what type of mushrooms these are, but I thought they were edible, but I'm not positive. Got lots of fungi here, different fungi. People have come by here and picked mushrooms. baskets of mushrooms, but I'm not a mycologist, so I don't know. There's so many frogs here. I love it. This is a turmeric, of course. We have lots and lots of turmeric. I really should spread more turmeric around. Keep meaning to do that. I'm pretty good at dividing plants and spreading them around. That's how we got here. This is a very good culinary ginger, much like officinalis, but it's an evergreen. It's called Thai ginger, and it is so good. This is a tree called the blue lily pilly that got affected by the drought, but it's come back strong. And my friend Frank had one that was fruiting, but he never told me about the fruit because it looked like it was ripe. So I'm assuming that it was not very good. Otherwise, he would have said something. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. But here's that ginger. Here's a cherry. No, this is the purple forest guava. It's another achachiro. I have so many little tiny achachiros planted around it. I have the Brazilian Cherapoo, I have the Madruno, I have Garcinia macrophylla duacer. I think Garcinia macrophylla could be one of the next Garcinias that produce fruit. Macrophylla, Garcinia acuminata, and Garcinia lux, I believe, are the next Garcinias that are going to fruit here, and that will put our fruiting Garcinias at 11 when that happens. So this is the Madruno tree, and it's loaded with fruit. It always has fruit on it. Usually I can find ripe fruit on it. In fact, I see some ripe fruit on it. These I sell for $8 each. I always let people taste them when they're by here. This is one of my favorite Garcinia trees. It's covered in frogs. Little frogs everywhere. I love it. I love frogs. Definitely a sign of a healthy system. So it has a ripe fruit on it. $8 each for this. Probably I would buy one of these fruits for $8 if I wanted the seeds to grow, or I just had to taste the fruit. Lemon drop mangosteens aren't the same. There's another one there I'm going to leave on. But I've been getting fruit off this tree every time I look at it, and it's got lots of little fruit on it, and it hasn't really given one huge crop of fruit, but it just produces fruit year-round. Here's another Sapodilla called Ahasia Sapodilla. I just wanted to show the Sapodillas to show the status of our fruit. This tree has a lot of little fruit on it. Our Ahasia Sapodillas do produce fruit well, but you could see broken branches, or where branches were broken, and they got all the fruit off of it. And here's another Sapodilla. I think this is a Ahasia also, not as big. This is a jackfruit. We have a lot of jackfruit trees, and I thought we'd have a lot of fruit at this time of year, but the drought came and all the little fruits, except for a couple on a couple of trees, fell off. So, but this was the first year that they produced fruit, so I'm cutting them some slack, and I know that they're gonna start flowering here in winter, which is what they did last year. We get fruit off jackfruit in winter or early spring, which is different than people that water would get fruit in summer. You don't have to water. We don't water anything. Here's a big Atemoia tree. I love Atemoias. There's a rack of bananas. We do have quite a few racks on our bananas, but I just don't see any that are ripe yet. Probably this winter we're gonna get bananas. We've had ripe bananas in December after Christmas, so it doesn't stop here. I guess this far south near the coast, it's better. So here's our sugar apples. As you can see, there's some good looking sugar apples all over the trees. I could find sugar apples, I'm sure, to sell, but like I said, there is no guarantee that they're going to be meaty, and that's a real shame because sugar apples are so freaking good when they're good. And when they're not, they're very disappointing. And we have sugar apples that have anthracnose on. That's what that is. This one's like a tree ripened one. This is probably going to ripen up very good. The anthracnose is on some of the fruit. It's not on all of them. It doesn't affect anything that I've been able to see. Maybe some of the smaller fruit that get it really bad mature too soon, but I think that has more to do with too much fruit on the tree. I don't thin these trees. I do not hand pollinate any tree, so these are all pollinated by nature, and we get so much freaking fruit off these things, it's crazy. And what's crazier is that I don't even bother picking it and selling it, because I know that people want sugar apples. It's just, that's what I mean. We got to sell this farm. We are going to list it come January 2025, and we've talked about the price, and we are willing to negotiate and work with somebody that thinks that they could probably afford it. Possibly owner financing, but you still have to come up with 20% down, and even 20% down on 1.7 or something like that is like huge. You know, 350,000 or something like that. It's a lot. It's a lot of money to come up with. So here's damage from the possums. This is why I should have taken the fruit off this tree, because the possums get up there and then they just break the branches, and it doesn't seem to hurt the trees. The trees recover just fine, but I do know it's the possums because there's fruit all over the ground. So, or, you know, remnants of fruit, but there's nice looking sugar apples on these trees. And if it was people doing it, it would be every tree would have damage, but it's just, this is definitely possum damage. Somebody goes, it's the people, but people in Florida know that you better not trespass on agricultural land, or you get shot probably, and if they catch you, it's a felony. So people around here generally are not familiar with sugar apples. I've only ever had 4 people from Vero Beach come by here. I had a few people that I invited by here from the Vero Beach Rare Fruit Council, but I don't belong to that, and I've never had anybody reach out to me from there ever, which I find a little strange, but that's okay. Here's a Lisa sugar apple. Most of my people that come here are not a Lisa Atemoia, not sugar apple. We got big flowers. Those are going to produce more fruit, so we should have fruit. There's quite a bit of fruit on here now that I can see the tree. There's one. Here's one. This one looks like a sugar apple fruit. Finally, our Atemoias are starting to produce well. I see it's got big flowers. Those are big flowers. Means you're going to get fruit. Little flowers means you won't get fruit. So there's the Lisa. There's the Lisa. There's more flowers. So the Atemoias tend to be a little later than the sugar apples. Boy, this tree got trashed by the possums. See, people wouldn't do this. Those are definitely possums. But I'm not too worried about it. The possums tend to not destroy anything, though they have really wreaked havoc on some of my branches on these trees. Some people would get freaked out by this, but this doesn't really bother me. If the whole tree was dying, it's my fault for not picking the fruit. I would get concerned. I'm gonna come by here and prune those branches though, just because. Here's a sugar apple that is totally small. So this is definitely possums doing this. There's just so much fruit. It's just crazy how much fruit there is. And then they only go in certain sections, so they don't even see some of the trees, but pruned by nature, I guess. I'm not too worried about it. They'll survive. They'll still produce more fruit. It's pretty much my fault for not picking the fruit. So there is a cure to it. You just have to pick the fruit. So they're not going to ever be able to destroy the trees. But I stopped mowing a path in here because the branches were getting too low down in the path, and I was damaging the trees. So this is a big alama tree. It looks good. I would think that soon there would be alamas on this fruit tree. Maybe next year. I see lots of fruit still on these trees. Probably I could find sugar apples to sell to somebody. I'm just a reluctant fruit seller. Here's a Gefner Atemoia. I know that this tree has some fruit on it. I've seen it. I'm looking for it. I really love Atemoias. They're so much better than sugar apples. There's some fruit up there I see. I know I've seen some fruit on this tree elsewhere other than that up there, but I gotta look for it. Not really a lot of Atemoias yet to sell, but these trees are finally getting big, and there's fruit there, so most of it's up high and it's smaller. So they're just now starting to produce fruit better. They finally look good this year. It's taken a while to get there. And we have a lot of smaller seed-grown Atemoia trees here. I'm gonna try to make my way through this mess of cassava. Bananas. Other fruit trees. Mangoes. Ginger. Cashew trees. There's more mangoes, and sugar apples. And Atemoias, little Atemoia seedlings. Yeah, it's not really a lot of different fruits available at the moment, but it's kind of the end of summer, and here's a little Atemoia seedling. They're looking good. All these Atemoia seedlings are going to be priestly seedlings, but we are going to have lots of guavas. This tree is loaded with fruit, so I imagine soon we're going to have lots of bananas soon. But it's been a very productive summer on all of our Garcinias, and we had a long mango season. It wasn't the most productive year around here. The mangoes didn't do very good this year due to the long dry spring and the early blooming. Our mangoes bloomed, I think, 5 or 6 times before they set fruit. So, and then when they did set fruit, it was too hot and they dropped the fruit. So hopefully this year, I have a feeling it's going to be a bumper year for our mangoes. There's a little rack of bananas. The racks of ice cream bananas are small when you pull pups off. I've been leaving the pups on the trees, but I'm gonna start pulling pups off these bananas to plant at our new place, but not until November. So it should be enough time for plenty of these racks, but I see nice sugar apples up on this tree here. I'm gonna set these sugar apples up here. It's nice that possums don't get the sugar apples along the road up here. See, this is where I would think that people would come in and take the sugar apples, but those can be picked. There's so much fruit on these trees. It's just crazy that they've been producing so much for so long. We have some red ones. I'm gonna set this fruit down. I saw some red sugar apples. Red sugar apples, I like the chewy sugar apples, and the red sugar apples are along this driveway. The red sugar apples are really horrible producers, and I can't taste the difference in the flavor. But these are a compound mauve, so they're the non-chewy type sugar apples. And I don't like the I'm okay with the non-chewy sugar apples, but I really love the good chewy sugar apples. In fact, the chewy sugar apples, when you pick them too soon, oh, I see more red sugar apples up here. So I know that there's some more that I've seen. When you pick the chewy sugar apples, they will be seedy, and I've been looking for a ripe sugar apple so that I could eat it right while I'm here, because I know as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm gonna come across one. But I don't see one yet, because when they're tree ripened, they're like so yummy and delicious. But the chewy sugar apples, when you pick them premature or green so that you can ship them, they end up being seedy and really have the consistency of a mushy sugar apple. They're not really fully formed yet. But I found you have to pick them a little bit green when you ship, like to Ohio or somewhere long distance. There's another compound mauve. We do grow the chewy purple sugar, or chewy red sugar apple. They're mostly purple looking to me. So chewy purple or non-chewy purple, the compound mauve. Just trying to see if I could find one that's ripe. I see plenty that are like definitely good size and could be picked soon. Maybe not that one, but definitely this one could be picked. And it would probably be okay, that one there. And some of these do have anthracnose. They started getting anthracnose when I see the creature's been trying to get fruit off this tree because it's got broken branch, the possum people. The last time I showed the sugar apples, I didn't end up picking any, and I know that there was plenty that needed to be picked, and so that's why the possums come here. It's the beauty of fruit. Here today, gone tomorrow. I don't have to really stress over it. If I don't pick it, I know that it will disappear. Anyway, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. This is Florida Natural Farming. Not too much stuff is ready to sell that's ripe. Sugar apples, some random Garcinias, but if you are interested in fruit and you see this, you need to like text me your address, because I can't ship to like California, and you have to send me your address and what you want exactly, and then I can tell you the price. I have been known to usually double the amount of fruit that people order without charging, but shouldn't be expected. I just, in order to get rid of the fruit, I just like to pick it, and I really want everyone to have a good experience. That was my whole problem. I'm not really into like ripping people off, and I think you need to have a little of that in you in order to be a good fruit seller, fruit monger type person, and I'm just never going to get there. I want everyone to have a pleasant experience. That's why people that come by here, I always give them fruit. I trade them for plants. I don't expect them to bring me plants the first time they've been here, but if they come by multiple times for fruit, I see a deer fly on my phone, missed it. I expect them to bring me a tree or something, some sort of plant in exchange. I will continue giving people fruit that come by here, but I expect trades in return for that. But anyway, I always let people taste fruit when they come by here if it's ripe, for free. I'm sure that people could start somebody bought this, they could start charging for tours. They could give classes on regenerative farming. There's a lot of potential here for money streams for somebody so inclined to go down that path and actually have the resources to purchase something like this. I believe I was asking $2 million was the last price. Like I said, we are willing to work on the price. I don't want to say because we are going to list it, and that's the number that the real estate agents are going to hold me to once I say that number. But we do want to sell. I do want to find the right person for this, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to find them on YouTube, that we're going to have to go through an agent. And I do know that everyone in this area, for the most part, that can afford this, really only cares about a lawn and would look at fruit trees as a nuisance and probably bulldoze them and create a lawn again that is detrimental to the future of Florida's health and our own health. Anyway, I'm Eric, Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. This is Florida Natural Farming. Have an excellent day. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a nice comment. I usually like hearing from people. Thank you.